Hello and welcome to the boat shed. Today it looks like we have a solution for these deck prisms that's going to work out really well. And stick around to the end of the video, we have some giveaways.
Got some free stuff?
That's what I'm talking about. Stick around. Hi, my name's John and this boat here is Antidote. Now I'm not a pro boat builder, I'm an engineer and a sailor with the dream of fixing up this old boat to go sailing around the world someday, but we've got a lot of work to do first. Now the last time we were at work, it was on some old deck prism housings that we're trying to rebuild, and I've been out of commission for a few weeks, but follow me and we'll catch you up on where things are at. Well, it's been a couple of weeks since I've been able to work on the boat project, because after that minor surgery, the doc said no heavy lifting. Well, we're gonna keep it under 20 pounds today, as per the doc's request. And so we'll start here with the part that we pulled off the last time we were working on the project. And this is going to be one of the housings for the new deck prisms. Now this piece ended up being more of a lesson learned than I think a real piece. It could probably still be used, but it has some gaps around the critical corners, and the subsequent layers of glass didn't quite bind together very well. Tried to use polyester for this in an open mold. It didn't work, so we quickly panicked and put the vacuum on it. It just was already gelling up. I think it was too late for that. So what we're going to do today is try to use instead epoxy. It has a longer open window and it's really sticky, so it's going to hold that glass a little bit better than the polyester did. Yeah, we'll vacuum bag it down with a 6-ounce cloth instead of the 1200 Biax that we were starting with before. We'll probably switch back to that on subsequent layers, but I think it's going to work pretty well. And the reason that I know that is that I have a piece right here that we pulled off this morning that seems to be working very well. So yeah, it's back to the purple epoxy. It's because the hardener is a little older, and in the can they kind of turn this red or purple color in this case, but it's super strong. It's come out very nicely. So we're gonna show you how we made this piece. We'll get some 6-ounce cloth cut out, and let's get this part put back together. Let's take a quick second to say thanks to the folks on Patreon that really helped make this channel a possibility, especially the folks whose names are appearing now on the screen. Thank you all so much. If you're interested in joining the Patreon group, you can check out this link right up here. It is the following day, and as you might have already guessed, we're doing the layup in 2 stages. So the first bag here, we just put in the 3 layers of the 6-ounce cloth, and I did that because I wanted to make sure I had a really good conformity to the mold. And I think as we were pulling the bag down, squishing all the bubbles out, it looks really good, really nice and tight. Now, of course, it's hard to see the bridging and possible gaps in the glass until you take all these materials off. So let's take the bag off now, open this up, see how it looks, and then hopefully we can keep moving on. I've been cutting off these little knobs that I use to pleat the bag, and I'm actually reusing them, putting them back on the backing paper, and then I can reuse them. Not really necessary, but helps cut down on the waste. I think it looks pretty good. There is a bit of an imprint here from the air inlet. If I was starting again, I would have made the part bigger so I'd have a clean place to pull the air out. I didn't really think about that at first, so there's always lessons learned doing stuff like this, and that's kind of why I like to share what I'm doing. So, here we go. Well, I would say this looks pretty good. We don't have the obvious air bubbles that we did with that first part. Maybe a very small one here in the corner, but certainly nothing to worry about. So the first 3 layers of 6-ounce seem to have gone down without much of a hitch. So we'll be ready to come back and fill in the rest of the glass here in a moment. But first, I want to talk about fastening down these old trim rings and how we're going to do that. The original trim rings on Antidote were just screwed into the existing teak deck using traditional wood screws. Now, although it would be possible to install them again using wood screws like this into the new fiberglass deck, to me it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. And I have talked in the past about trying to tap G10 for machine threads, like this guy right here. And so this is a scrap right here. We have a couple of different depths of thread engagement. So we have a 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, and 3/4 of an inch. And we have 2 tests each. So although I have talked to some people that have said, yeah, it's totally fine to tap G10, the threads hold great, let's do the trust but verify thing here. So introducing Mr. Shop Press here, we have a digital readout that gives us the actual amount of force that we're applying. This is a 500 kilogram or about 1,000 pound load cell, so we can go up to about 1,000 pounds. And we'll be able to push the threads and see if we can break the threads. Now typically, you're pulling on the threads, and I don't have a great way to rig that up. So we're gonna go with the push method, and it's similar as far as the threads are concerned. So we'll test out the G10, the different depths of engagement here. I also have a 1/4 inch thick piece of brass. This came out of the bulwark. You'll see there's 2 holes there in the center that we drilled out. So we'll see how that compares. And then maybe we'll drive a wood screw as well into some plywood just to see how much pull-out strength the screw would have had. And I'm sure there's other things too that you probably would like to see. You can let me know in the comments down below. Maybe we'll do a follow-up later. Maybe I can just use some laminated fiberglass and see how that does as opposed to the G10. That would be interesting. Maybe I'll still do that. Anyway, here we go. Okay, first one up, we have just a regular wood screw here into a piece of plywood. The suspense. Okay, so here we're applying some force. We've got 130 pounds almost right now. I saw 290. Okay, I can already tell it's just pushing through. About 300 pounds, but it's just pushing right through. So I think about 300 is the most we saw there before it starts to tear out. There's your wood screw. And you can see it's just pushed the wood right out of the bottom there. A big crater. Okay, well we weren't expecting a lot out of that screw anyway, but about 300 pounds. We'll check the data, but I think it was around 300. All right, and next up we have the brass plate. and the bolt is just poking through the bottom. So we'll run this. We have 2 holes here we can try. Okay. Let's put on some safety glasses. We've got 40 pounds in there. Okay, we've got 450 pounds. We'll go to 1,000. Okay, so there's 1,000 pounds. And honestly, it seems to be doing just fine. Let's keep going. There's almost 1,500 pounds, still having no problem. And that's sort of over the rating of the cell. So we're going to stop there. So don't think we need to test the second one. The brass seems to be doing just fine. So there it is. Doesn't appear to be any damage to it at all. Let's see if it comes out clean. Yeah, it's just still finger tight, so no damage at all to the threads with 1,500 pounds. It's pretty impressive. I remembered I have this big piece of fiberglass lying around that I put together several months ago for the anchor locker grate at the bottom. And I'm not sure if I'm going to use this or not. You can check out this video up here if you're curious on how we put this together, but it was just a bunch of 1708 using vacuum and epoxy. It's about 3/4 of an inch thick. It's pretty hefty. But we'll use this now to see how it holds threads. So I have one here that has 1/4 inch thread engagement, and the other hole is about 1/2 an inch deep. So we'll just try these out. And if I do end up using it, it's going to have holes drilled in it anyways. So I figure no loss there. Let's see how it does. All right, 50 pounds. It's making some noise, 150. I can hear it moving. There it goes. And it's just pushed through. Now this is not finger tight and coming out easily, probably because all the threads were mangled. So the bolt looks fine, and it's going to be very difficult to see there, but you might be able to see a little bit of fiber loose in there. Anyway, the threads have all pushed out. Failed. This is with the 1/2 inch deep threads. $230. $1,400. Well, there's 2,000 pounds and it's still holding. We cycled it several times between close to 0 and then up to 2,000 pounds. And it has not pushed through. It is tight though, so I think the threads are a bit deformed. So there could be an issue with creep. It's coming out by hand now, but it's definitely not as loose as the other tests. So performed better than I expected though. All right, so now we're rigged up for the 1/4 inch G10. Let's give it a try. Wow, right to 600 without, even just with the 1/4 inch thickness. There's over 1,000. I need a bigger load cell. Wow, so there's 1,500 pounds, 1/4 inch thickness, no problems. That's an M5 by 0.8 machine screw, so it's not even really big threads. I'm impressed, and now I really want to get a bigger load cell. I just don't want to break the one I have, you know? Okay, so there's 2,000 pounds on there. It's exceeding what the load cell is even designed for. I might have even already busted it. We're gonna call it there. I'm impressed. I am gonna get a bigger load cell. I don't know if it's going to get here before this video launches, so maybe there'll be a follow-up here. Let me know in the comments if you're interested to see actually breaking stuff, but I don't think we even need to continue onto the deeper threads, because that's just 1-to-1. That's the thickness of the fastener, depth in threads, and that was holding 2,000 pounds in M5 bolt. That's impressive. So, and it still comes right out, no problem. Everything seems great, so I don't have any real hesitation. Let me know in the comments if there's something I'm not thinking about here with this, but it seems like that's going to be a great way to capture the threads. It's totally inert, and if I don't have it going through into the deck, then any water that does get in can't go anywhere, but we're going to try and seal it up anyway. Well, now that we know that we're going to use the G10 as the backing for the bolts that will capture this ring, I've got it mocked up on the back side here, and you can see that there is going to be lots of room to get the bolts through because the holes are shifted to the outsides of the plates, which is great. Now on the original piece that I did first, I didn't think of this ahead of time, and so I've wrapped the glass all the way around, and it's going to be a little tighter. So I think doing the G10 blocks in now is going to be a lot better. Then we'll wrap the glass over top. So we've got the wet saw ready to go. Let's cut out some G10, get it on here. Well, that seems to have worked very well the following day now, and we're ready to pop this off the mold. At least that's the hope. So here we go. We'll get it all undone. See how it looks. This is my third time using this mold, and they've always come up, but never that easy. Let's hope this works out. Let's go. Oh, look at that, it's actually popping off without air pressure. Might be able to see here, there's like a light green sheen, and that's the PVA, which is still kind of stuck to the part. So we're gonna pull this off and we can rinse off the rest. It's water soluble. Nice finish. Well, the way that I built this piece with doing the foam blocks right after the first couple of layers, you can really see through them here, and they're in a great spot, and everything lines up really nicely. So that's gonna be good. So up next, drilling and tapping these holes so we can put that trim ring back in. And for this step, we're gonna go in a couple of stages. So we have a couple of drill bits. The first one is a little larger, and this is gonna fit nicely inside the trim ring so that we can get a little dimple to locate all the holes, and then we'll come back with the smaller drill bit for the tap, and that will hopefully locate in the dimple and drive down nice and straight. Now I'm using my Swag foot switch to control the drill press, and that's just gonna give me both hands free to move things around, and it's gonna really help things out. So thanks Swag for hooking me up with that sweet foot switch. Here we go. This will be where I wish that I had a proper tapping head so I could drive these in and pull them back out. I do want to do this, start them on the drill press just because it's going to get them started nice and straight even though the holes are drilled. I just find sometimes the holes can wander. So we'll just try this, get started, and probably finish them by hand. So far so good, and now we've been starting them with the drill press using the standard tap, and that worked pretty well. You don't need to do that probably, I just want to make sure they're really nice and straight going in, just to start them at least. And we're going to finish them now with this bottom tap, and we'll hopefully get some threads close to the bottom, and then we should be good to go. Now on to the last piece of the puzzle. We want to get a hole in here so that the glass can sit all the way inside properly. So to do that, I've made up a router template that on one side has a trim ring basically sized into it, and then on the other side we have some blocks so that the router can run around inside here and cut out this exact hole. And that should fit really well. And to do the cutting, we are using this bit here. So this is a fiberglass cutting burr bit. It's solid carbide. It has a V groove so it can cut in, and then hopefully it's going to do a good job of cutting this fiberglass. We're going to find out here right now. Well, this worked out really well, I think, in the end. We've got room for the sealant to take up some of the gaps. It's nice to have that light coming through the deck once we get it mounted. So yeah, it looks good. The holes for the bolts will need to get re-countersunk because they're a little larger than the previous one, but that's no big deal. So I think this part is ready to go onto the deck, and that is awesome. Now, I talked about some free stuff. Well, a couple of weeks ago, Bridget and I had the opportunity to go up to the Vancouver International Boat Show and participate as a creator in their first time ever creators booth up there. And it was a really fun weekend. It met a lot of really great creators, fans of this channel, fans of other channels, maybe fans of this channel soon. And it was just a really fun time to hang out with some like-minded boat people. And while I was there, I brought some of the things that some different supporters of this channel have been giving me along the way to share with those people. So we're gonna draw a few names out of the hat here to pull a couple of winners. There'll be more that are done offline. We're not gonna go through all of them right now, but we'll do a few here, and then stick around because we're gonna do some for those of you watching too. So first up, we have this Seaview cable gland. This is a multi-unit. We're using this on the boat in a couple of places probably, but you can check out this video up here to see where we're using it. And this is gonna go to Rowry. I don't know if I said that correctly. I won't say your last name on here, but we are going to get you an email to get in contact about this guy right here. Congratulations. This is a Bolt Depot assortment kit. Now this is my personal version. If I tip it too far, it's going to all spill out. But this is a full 3/16 stainless, nice little fastener kit. It's got the Living for Sale logo on it. How cool is that? So we're going to get one of these sent over to Jesse. Email coming your way, Jesse. Congratulations. We got a couple of hats here. We're going to do an Interlux hat for Mario and an Oligrip hat. You can look just like Matt from Project Duracell if you wear this. This is awesome. It's going to Dawn. And I'll pull some more for those of you that are at the show, and I'll contact you separately. But let's do a couple now for people that are watching this channel. You might be all over the place. Now, I'm going to have to say, though, you got to be in the US or Canada, the lower 48 or Canada, just because shipping costs are crazy. So I'm sorry if you are outside of that area, but we'll see what we can do here. So the reason that we're doing all this to begin with is because of all of these screws. If you remember, this is from the deck of the boat. I removed all of these a little while ago, and these were holding the old teak deck down. The deck is subsequently rotted, and that's why we're replacing the whole deck to begin with. So what I want you to do is leave a comment on this video guessing the number of screws you think I pulled out of that deck. How many are in that bin? And yes, I have counted, and maybe that sounds crazy to you. It didn't take as long as you'd think. So we're gonna give away another Bolt Depot kit. Let's do another cable gland, a couple of hats, and I also have this PYI floorboard kit, which is really cool. And I'm actually really excited to try this, so I'm gonna have to get them to send me another one. All right, well, hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'd love it if you participate in that fun little contest. If you haven't already hit the like button on this video, I'd really appreciate that. It does help with the algorithm. And if you're new to the channel and would like to get caught up from the very beginning, there is a playlist for you right here, and you can subscribe to this channel for more of this content and other fun things. I'd love that button for you there. See you next time. I don't think there are any bloopers this week. I didn't do anything that's funny or interesting this week. I'm sorry.